All right, let's get into the paper review this morning now to bring you updates, stories, trying to get your attention on the front pages of the papers this morning. And we have one of our regulars, Charles Ideho, a social commentator and journalist, joining us in the studio. Charles, good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome.
Nice to see you.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
All right, so we start off with the Punch newspaper. The major story on the front page is Buhari embarks on 4-day medical trip to UK today. Stop deceiving Nigerians about your health, PDP tells President. Should that even be a point of discussion?
Yeah, it should
Doesn't
be.
Okay.
It should be.
Why should it be?
He has a right to be. He has a right to be ill as a human. But the president is kept there by your taxes, by my taxes. So when somebody gets into their office, he loses his own privacy, so to speak, and because he is there in trust for all of us. So whatever happens to him, we should care. For instance,
Yeah, but the president understands that, and that is why this information is made public.
No, the thing is that I think the trips are getting too much. That's see, if one is tired for the position, just own up. Then we can get a younger person who is fit for the office. Right now, economies all over the world are being run by just in knowledge-based economy. People who are strong enough, who have the knowledge to be able to drive the economy. But when you have a president who every time, like Punch this morning, they did a very fine job. They listed exactly how many times this man had gone to London for this same issue of medical trip. For instance, on February 5 and 10, he was there, or 2006. On June 6, 2006, he went for 10-day vacation for ear infection. Remember the ear infection? Then on June 19, 2006, he spent 14 days in London. And January 19, 2007, he prolonged January 19 to now, January 19 to March 10. Was about 49 days. Then the one that had the longest, almost over 100, was May 7 to August 19.
And he had, during the technical stopover in London recently.
Then he also had the technical stopover. The
technical stopover was for the plane, not for the president.
But what I'm saying first is that he couldn't have just done something where he was
because he met his doctor at that time, and then the doctor said I should come
well,
back.
And then again,
but
on the
other hand, Charles,
yes,
the point there is the enormous duty of the president, or whoever becomes the president, is so much that going for medical checks is not a bad idea at all.
But as regularly as we're having it now?
Yeah, because the man is not necessarily a young man.
I'm not a fan of Obasanjo's, but how often does Obasanjo visit?
And that aside, really, what happens to the Aso Rock clinic? And
money is voted every. I mean, you have appropriation for that. But the other question I have before we move on is the medical doctor over there. Okay, is going to spend 4 days. Couldn't we import him for the 4 days?
Well,
I'm just asking.
All right.
It's still going to cost.
But it will cost less.
Yes. Let's quickly run through the remaining stories here because of time. Evans Whips says they have been beating me. No good food. Saraki Dogara reports IG to Buhari over Senate Melaye. ICPC charges suspended SEC DG Guazo with 115 million naira fraud. Codeine syrup, NAFDAC shuts Emzor, 2 other firms. It's getting hot now.
Very unnecessary.
Well, Ogun APC reunites as Amosun visits ex-Oshoba, and then $36.3 billion spent on petroleum products importation in 4 years. That's according to the Central Bank.
Why did you say it was unnecessary?
Well, the thing is that, incidentally, we discussed the codeine issue here on
Journalist Hangout
the other day. I mean, we spent 1 hour, one whole hour. The thing is that you don't need to close companies. I understand they say because of the information is scarce, the issue of records, they're not helping. But when you shut down a company that provides employment for thousands of people, I mean, you are going to hurt people's economy. It's just a product. The codeine is not the only product that this manufacturing concerns. They're involved in.
So you think it's a fire brigade approach?
That's what I'm saying. So the thing is that you don't need to shut down a company because of just what you need to do is that
you can work with them.
Let
us see how we can.
Yeah, you don't shut them.
They're going to
hurt the economy of so many people. Quite, all right, let's move to the Nation newspaper now. The Ekiti APC aspirants and National Working Committee disagree over shadow poll. Oni Bamidele Ojudu, 24 others seek fresh primary, and the sack of Al-Makura Committee. National Working Committee, we won't change panel. Oni in petition to Oyegun system is compromised. This is emerging from the
But I was,
elections.
because I followed Ayo. Our Ayo here was there.
Yes.
I was following the whole thing. I felt very, very sad. I was saddened, but that, again, I had to repent from that sadness. The reason is that those people who are there are the people who cross over from the other party. So what they did was that when they left the party, it's just like a Molue driver or those saucy and very crazy downfall drivers in Lagos and double conductor. You just give them uniform. The uniform will not change them. They have the system. Their psyche has not been regenerated, has not been reformed.
But is this
so that's
is it just necessary about those who left the other party?
It is necessary. It's about the people, not the
No,
system.
but the point there is politicians have always been politicians. The same, if you go to, even when the different parties, whether it's ABGA or Labour Party and the other political parties, they all had their issues.
We're saying the same thing. What I'm saying first is that people were I personally was expecting that the nomenclature, APC, was going to, just like what they promised, was going to bring a lot of things that different into the system. But APC, that's what I'm saying, is still towing the path and treading the path.
Exactly. But it's not necessarily because of those who left.
It is.
No, Charles,
it's peopled by those people.
But can you really say it that way? Because looking at the trend of some primary elections conducted by the same APC in some other states, if you recall, at the Ekiti Congress, some people were chanting that this is not Ondo State. This is not Ondo State. And of course, if you followed what happened in Ondo State during the primaries, how figures were,
they were manufactured here.
Not just in Ondo, in some other states as well, where the chairman of the party was accused of favoritism.
What I'm saying here is that the promises we had from APC were promises that they raised to high heavens. All our hopes were raised to high heavens, that all the impunities, all the ballot snatching, we are going to be a thing of the past. And that's exactly what I'm basing my judgment on.
I think Nigerians were expecting just too much from them.
That's what I'm saying. We're expecting too much from them.
From the Nigerian politicians, not necessarily those who left the other party for this.
Whatever.
All right, Buhari on medical trip to London. And we've talked about that. Killings meant to instigate war, says Buhari. He is referring to the massacre in Gwaska in Beningwari in Kaduna State.
I don't think so. I don't think, because that thing has been on for a long time. Especially Beningwari has been a hotbed. And their attraction is cattle rustling. What they do is that they cow the people. What they do is that they intimidate them. Because the forest in Beningwari stretches all over to Zamfara, all Zamfara State. And you also know that Zamfara and they have a boundary. So there's always been this. So I don't think what the president is saying is, I don't agree with that. It's been there for a long time. It's been there.
All right. Government recovers 7.8 billion naira, $378 million through whistleblower policy. And NAFDAC shuts EMZO for Ilorin firms. And Saraki Dogara report IG to Buhari. Okay, and then we have troops rescue 1,000 from Boko Haram. This is with the help of the Cameroonian soldiers as well as the members of the
Chad Basin region. But you see, I think we actually need their help. The Chads of this world, the Cameroon of this world, the Nigeria Republic, when they are able to collaborate with Nigeria, because when Boko Haram they strike in Nigeria, they run over there. Yeah. So if they are able to push it, then we can now.
But there are reports that they don't even necessarily have to run. They're still within the Sambisa forest.
Well, can't we close in? I mean, let's look for
this. They've been in collaboration for years, really. So,
but how?
Yeah, we have to move on.
All right, so we go to the Daily Sun. In fact, almost all the stories have major. Let's just run through them. The major story: Buhari embarks on medical trip to UK to keep appointment with doctors. The master decided $36.371 billion spent on fuel importation in 5 years, that the CBN talking. And then under the major story, trouble in APC as state chapters implode. Thugs sack Ekiti Exco. Protest rocks Cross River, Enugu, others. Evans rebels, refuses to enter courtroom. And then loot in Jonathan's government under probe in UK presidency. Yes, the Jonathan administration is still under so much investigation.
But you see, what I want to beg I love the vice president very much. I also love the president anyway. Can we just move on? If you have any evidence beyond all reasonable doubt that these people that you are accusing stole so much, And immunity does, no longer covers the ex-president. Immunity doesn't cover all these people the host people you are banding here and there. Can't we just allow the law to take its course and take them in, dock them for the first time. Let's dock the president for the first time. Instead
of media indictment.
Instead of media indictment. Okay, you are saying, oh, they stole so much. They are the ones responsible.
Yeah,
and they are working free.
But they are not saying from the reports from the spokesperson of the vice president. He's saying he's not necessarily the president himself, but he's under the president.
Under him.
So they're not indicting the former president as a person.
But the box stopped at somewhat stable at that, during the regime of Jonathan.
Yeah, but people have been named. There are names. In fact, they have the details of all of those.
Okay, the names who are put exactly. What are we doing about? Can't we just
stop them?
Some of the cases are in court, and some of them have been indicted. All right, let's move to the Vanguard newspaper now. Killings plot to instigate war in Nigeria. Buhari is saying that. We've talked about that. Battle for Imo. Okorocha deputies war escalates. And on Kudin, NAFDAC shuts 3 drugs firm. And Gwaska massacre death toll hits 58. Very sad. Those against Buhari's re-election behind killings. Emir of Katsina.
We are back there again.
We're back there
Last
again.
week, I think here we spoke about it that, look, let's just allow one reason to stand. The reason that the president made to say that is the fallout of the Libyan rebels. Can't we stick to that? Now, you say they are politicians who are disgruntled, they are this. Now we are looking for some. Can't we just tie this to one reason?
I think when traditional rulers, when they make a statement like this, it has a way of bringing a whole twist to the whole thing because of the place they occupy.
They may occupy, but again, most of them are not apolitical. They are not political, so they also have interest.
Is that a cause for concern? Because this statement, many would say, sounds political. And if you are seen to pitch yourself to one side
because the thing is,
of the divide.
All this killing, there's a political undertone to all this killing. You have religious undertone, politics, sectional, all of them are together. For instance, even in Kaduna where you're having this killing, you find that when you are from the south, according to allegations, the South Kaduna, the government may not be jolted to action. But if it happens within certain people, you see, so that's what I'm saying, that if they kill a certain people, you say, oh, sorry. But if it's so, then you move in. That's what I'm saying, that
there seems to be some bias.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
From the body language,
exactly. So we should treat, this is Nigeria. All of us are supposed to be important. The human life is, the sanctity of the human life, nobody can replace the human life. Let's look for how to get this thing done, and so we can stay at peace.
All right, we go to the last paper, the New Telegraph. Major story, battle for APC structures. Okorocha, Otom Ogbe, ministers, senators lose out. With multiple riders, police steal party secretariats in Delta Ekiti. Protesters storm APC national headquarters. House senators, deputy governor overwhelmed Imo governor. That's about that. We go under the paper. Okay, yeah, this picture again. Buhari travels to London for medical checkup. 2019, Southwest PDP leaders root for Atiku.
Say it again.
Southwest PDP.
Oh, PDP. Okay, not the Southwesterners.
No, Southwest
PDP. I have a Southwest.
Southwest PDP leaders.
Except if you are a card-carrying member of the PDP.
Not Southwest PDP members. PDP leaders. Southwest
leaders.
PDP leaders.
Well, leaders can also wear some influence. Anyway.
All right, a top bit. In 3 months, banks lend private sector 15.6 trillion naira.
But we're not feeling it.
And then police shouldn't operate like barbarians, tribesmen. That's according to the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dokara, talking there.
Anyway, but police reform is ongoing, so let's see what happens in the years to come.
Okay.
Until then,
they are tribesmen.
Okay. Charles Ideho, thank you so much for joining us on the paper review. But we'll be keeping you for the next discussion now as we get along on the Kaduna massacre. Thank you for staying with us. Right.